Welcome to the Texas Art Institute Library and Learning Resource Center series on advanced PubMed. This is the third in the series where we'll talk about Boolean operators, how to take what we learned in the last two tutorials and put it all together. Boolean operators are the commands that you can use to combine your search terms. The three that are available in PubMed and most databases are OR, AND, and NOT. And you can see that by combining two terms with OR, you're expanding your search to including all articles that include the word stress or the word anxiety. By combining our terms with AND, you'll get a smaller subset of articles where only the ones that have both terms occurring will be returned. And then the same for NOT. Stress, any article with stress, but not any articles with the word anxiety will be returned. We don't recommend that you use NOT on a regular basis. Its best use is for when you're comparing two searches to see how they're different. Many articles will use a comparison between two different methods or two different diseases, and we'll mention a lot more things than that will make it get eliminated when you don't really want to eliminate that article. So as we're talking about the searches, how do we use them? How do we use these operators to create our searches? And you'll see that the basic way that we like to talk about this is in the building block search concept. So you have an idea of what you're searching for, and you come up with terms for your first concept or your first idea, first topic, and you combine all of the synonyms you can think of for that using OR. So all of the OR will make it bigger, 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 and then you'll combine that with another concept where you've also thought of all the synonyms with OR. And then you bring those two together, each of your concepts, to narrow it back down to your topic of interest. How does this work with the examples that we've been using? We've been looking at ischemic heart disease and echocardiography. And in our first video, we just put the terms in without any tags or Boolean operators or anything. And our first concept essentially ended up being ischemic heart disease, and our second concept was echocardiogram. And PubMed automatically put an AND between these two terms and added a whole bunch of synonyms with OR. In our second video, we looked at a more focused approach using the medical subject headings or MESH, and we came up with a search that used these two concepts of the coronary artery disease using diagnostic imaging and echocardiography methods. And we combined these two concepts with AND to get a much smaller number of articles that were very focused. Now let's say that we are doing a review article and we need to see everything that has ever been published in this area, or want a much broader view and want to be a little bit more exhaustive in our search. That's what we'll talk about next. How do we put all of this together that we've been looking at? So again, our first concept is echocardiography. And if we start out with our medical subject heading that we've identified, and then we can take these text words that occur in probably the title or abstract, echocardiography, echocardiogram, and then maybe we'll throw in a plural or another term. So this is essentially our first concept. And then our second concept was ischemic heart disease, and we saw that it mapped to myocardial ischemia mesh and coronary artery disease mesh. So if we use those two terms, and then our original term as a text word, and then maybe we'll want to use the mesh term in a text word as a text word. We could also include the spelling variants for the British spelling with ischemic with the A. And then combine all those with OR before we bring them together with AND. So here's essentially what I'm talking about. For the ischemia term, taking our two medical subject headings, myocardial ischemia, coronary artery disease, and then looking at our original term, ischemic heart disease, and then also taking these two mesh terms and translating them into text word terms as well. So we end up with two spellings here, and then here is the text word version of this mesh heading. Combine all of these with OR and to look for a much larger set of articles. Here under echocardiography, done the same thing, taken the mesh term and then taken some text words. And if you remember in the second video, we did talk about the older heading for this particular topic being ultrasonics. So I've thrown that in just to see if there are any older articles in this area. So if I take this particular search and take it over to PubMed, essentially taking all of these terms combined with OR and running that search, you'll see ischemic heart disease, text word OR, and then it keeps going. There's quite a few results. I can do the same with this set of terms with all my terms OR'd. Take that over to PubMed and look at those results. Again, hundreds of thousands. I'm going to click on advanced now, and you'll see here that we have those two searches that we just ran, or. And then now that we have a good idea of what terms we want to use, we can combine these concepts with and doing it this way in the advanced search area using this actions area. PubMed has added in the parentheses to group these together and then group these together. So you don't need to worry about keeping track of your parentheses so much if you're using this advanced search area to build your search. So we built our search, one of our search concepts, and then we built our other search concept, and now we're going to combine them together. And we can look at that in the history here. So we have 30,000 results. And if we compare that to our two other searches, our first quick and dirty search was about 33,000 results. Our second very focused search was 300 results. And this more exhaustive, more precise search, because we're using TW instead of all fields, has now 30,000 results. So this should be a really good covering of this area. Anything that's come out and is indexed in PubMed should have appeared in this search. We can always go back and tweak it, and that's part of the beauty of searching, is that it is iterative. So we can go back and decide that, oh, maybe we don't need all of these terms, or we have learned that there are people who use other terminology. We can go back, make the change, combine them again, or combine things in different ways. So if you have too many results, maybe you need to add a third concept or a fourth concept. If you don't have enough results, maybe you need to add more synonyms using the word or. And you can always look at the results that you did get with your quick and dirty search and just kind of get an idea for the kinds of terminology that's out there. Maybe there are big differences between fields. A cardiologist may be using a different set of terms than an anesthesiologist because they've come from slightly different practices. So it's a good idea to look at what you're getting and then adjust and make changes. So I hope this video series has showed you how to get started, and then hopefully you won't be so shy about going in and just playing with it, trying different things. We do have a sample document that will be linked in the description, and it does run through a few different other searches where you can see how they were built out in the 3 different manners with some other terms. Thank you for your attention.